All right, Shalom, Laha Alahayim, peace to the gods, Nawathan, Kal Halalimla, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Hakodash, giving all praises to Yahweh, in the name Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors into the elder apostles, elder bishops, and the heads and elders of all the camps of Great Millstone GMS who do rule well, who are the true leaders of all Israel Yasha'Allah today, who I've learned this 100% truth from, whether you can receive that or not. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad. This is your brother, Tasapanya, of the Great Millstone, Washington, D.C. camp. Adawan Ratazah, Lord willing. This in transit meditation before the plantation, quick hit, is edifying unto the elect. So, two things. Recently, in this past week, you had is it peer-reviewed or non-peer-reviewed, either some type of scientific journal, all right, written by 3 or 4 astronomers from prestigious universities. If I'm not mistaken, I read like either Harvard and Oxford or Cambridge and some others. Um, Using what is the Hubble telescope, some other telescopes, these multi-million, maybe even billion-dollar type Hubble telescopes, and they're calling this same object 3I Atlas, something to that effect, and they're saying it's traveling some crazy amount of miles per hour, and it's heading towards Earth, and it's a cigar shape, and all of this is in the scriptures. Now, whether I don't want to, if it's real or not, that's not the point. The point is the scriptures don't lie. So whether NASA is, and these people trying to deceive people for Project Bluebeam, you know, that's one thing. But the Lord can manifest certain of their angels to be, seen with a technological eye through a telescope, just to fuck with Esau, man. Because Esau is dismayed by the sons of heaven, pursuant to Jeremiah chapter 10? All right? Because we're not supposed to be like the heathen that are dismayed at the sons of heaven. Because we know exactly what these things are, And Zechariah talks about, all right, the curse going over the whole earth, right? Pursuant to that same scroll shape, a flying scroll, which is of that cigar type shape. You have a scroll back in the day, it was rolled up, and then to open it, you unscroll it, Um, so that shape that people is used to, even with a flying saucer from afar, that elongated type shape. Esau in the world ignorantly calls these things UFOs, UAPs, unidentified flying objects, unidentified aerial phenomena, you know. But they even got to the point where they said these things can go underwater, you know. And when I say these things, I'm talking about the angels, because they're really the angels of the Lord. The scriptures have many different names for them, but they're the chariots. They are the vehicles, the spiritual vehicles that the angels travel in, all right, to go to and fro from the earth, watching, and recording the doings of men, of the sons of men, you know, and reports it back unto the Heavenly Father, you know. And it's crazy how out of nowhere, the same video that pretty much solidified what the apostles were saying, even though I believed it as soon as the apostles said it, but when I seen the video, it blew my mind, you know. Now it's 10 years later, damn near, you know, because I've been in the truth, you know, coming up on 10 years now. When I first seen this back in like 2016, the white lady interviewing, the fat, Edomite, that, and they have the appearance of an Edomite. Got to put that out there. You see what I'm saying? Because this thing is not a black thing. It's dependent upon your lineage, your patrilineal lineage, who you descend from, what seed line you come from, meaning who your father is. So even if you look like another nation, if your seed line, your father's father, go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then you're an Israelite. But anyway, Edomite looking woman interviewing an Edomite looking man. All right. And the Edomite looking man was a retired, uh, uh, some type of intelligence agency officer, right? And now they have it on World Star when it was just on YouTube circulating around certain people. And she was asking about the spacecraft, and he said, yeah, one landed and two men came out, and they was like 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall, and they was black. And and the woman was like, what do you mean by black? Like brown skinned? He was like, no, I'm talking about they were black. Like, and they and they had woolly hair, if I'm not mistaken, froze. That's what he said. And imagine hearing for the first time, you like, yeah, the Lord is a so-called black man. His son is a so-called black man with woolly hair pursuant to the scriptures. The angels are so-called black men, and you rocking with it, and then you see, a secondary source, going into history, how you was taught primary sources, secondary sources, right? Confirming what the Bible and the apostles was bringing out. You like, oh shit, because in Ezekiel chapter 1 it talks about the angels giving that appearance, right? And then it goes on to say that they had the feet, or is it the head of man? If somebody want to post that, Baba Kushan, Ezekiel 1, where the appearance of a man, regarding the angels, because this was all the description of the glory of the Lord, but yeah. So when I seen, I was like, wow. So now all of a sudden, when you have an official peer-reviewed scientific journal coming out that a 7-mile wide craft is hurling towards Earth, and then this old video of black men, and then they use the term African American, which is kind of good because, it gives you a visual type of imagination of what the angels would look like, man. So your regular black Americans, so to speak, let's say if they had woolly hair and they was tall and they was of a more darker phenotype, this is what the angel of the Lord when they manifest themselves in human form, this is what they look like, man. And these are our brothers. This is what John the Revelator saw when he tried to bow down and worship that angel, and the angel told him to get up. He was like, listen, you know, I'm one of your fellow servants. Worship the Most High, through his son, because the spirit of his son is I mean, the testimony of his son, Yahweh Shah, is the spirit of prophecy, man. So we, and trust and believe. Like I just passed um a Jake that's working as a flagger next to this construction site, and it's an older Jake, right? And he got a full white beard, man. You know, and he's dark, you know, having that heavenly look. Because I was gonna say, let a so-called African American, right, a Judite, rock his afro, and he don't even have to be muscular. You know what I'm saying? Let him have a thick, full, mid-sized afro to about right here, and if he had a full beard, and he has one of them stern looks on his face, and he walk into any establishment, he gonna get that look, that royal look, because he got that glow on him, man. You know, times before when I was about to get my hair braided, and let's say I go somewhere with the afro, and let's say I actually styled it to the point of like the 1970s look, you know, I could go anywhere. It's looking like you a god, son. A god, son, a son of God. you know, Crazy, bro. So, and we, man, so, everything is spiritual. All things are spiritual. You gotta understand that, you know. So we are in them times that the Lord is revealing himself. It says that, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. And what's the most sinful kingdom? Babylon. All right, America, man. So all of these sightings and things of that nature, yeah, all of these is happening right here. I did a video on that way back. I showed a map of the UFO sightings, and there was UFO sightings all over the world, but America had the most. It was like fucking lit up on the graph, on the map, you know, because of how wicked this place is. The Lord is constantly watching of what's going down, right? But yeah, I didn't want to make this too long, but that video is circling. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I just seen it and I remembered it, and I said, "Oh, I gotta do a video," because it's no coincidence that they was just talking about some 3-eye Atlas, 7 foot, 7 mile wide object, and then now they talking about on World Song Hip Hop about African Americans 7 foot tall hopping out of spaceships. Come on, man. And the Hebrew Israelites, specifically of the Great Millstone stock, has been giving you the understanding of what's going on. All right. So I'll leave off with paraphrasing 2nd Esdras 13, man. Because it says there's multiple scriptures now that I'm thinking about it, traveling in his great strength, but how this man waxed great through heaven, you know what I'm saying? And everywhere he turned, you know, uh, everything was like dissolved or moved out the way wherever he went. And how Ezra saw, a mountain, but didn't know where it came from, a great mountain, you know, because if something in the sky looks 7 miles wide, that's relative. You can only do mathematics to try to gauge on how big it could be. There's a scale, so that thing could be even longer. And I was going to do what is the base height, length, or width of the bottom of the mountain, to get a gauge of how big this thing, could look, But it's either here nor there. Yahweh Shah is coming back in the fathership. All right, and he's going to deliver those that followed him, the elect of Israel, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans that are of the elect, but then he's going to destroy, All right, 2/3 of you people here in Babylon the Great that didn't want to listen, wanted to do your own thing and wanted to scoff at. Because when I was going through the comments, there was a bunch of scoffing. Oh, they just saw Shaquille O'Neal, bro, and what type of shit they smoking, and uh, all type of jokes, man. Oh, the Anunnaki, it's just the Anunnaki, you know, like I'm telling you, when it says that in Revelation 1, when he comes back, uh, all um all men, all people, is gonna wail or fear. When he comes back, they're gonna hide. All every knee shall bow. Yeah, when the army comes, it's gonna be a terrible sight, and these people are gonna really understand. All right, what we've been saying, man. They've been having us in derision, and see, that's when that strong salvation is going. Strange salvation is going to come by the strangeness of his salvation, and then they're going to be wondering why they wasn't counted with the saints, and we are, Lord willing, because the Lord gave us, the understanding of the mysteries, man, of what's in the scriptures. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I didn't want to make this too long, man, but it's coming. All these biblical topics is becoming mainstream now. The mark of the beast, the angels of the Lord, um, intercontinental ballistic missiles, you know, uh, concentration camp, all of this, man. You know. But again, I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Lord willing, I was edifying to the elect. On to the next one. Shalom.